Alright, what's up everyone? Welcome to the Surfside PPC YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over the Google AdWords Display Planner. It'll be our Display Planner tutorial. This will be relevant for 2017, probably into 2018 as well. We're doing it late in 2017, so should be relevant in 2018. They haven't changed the Display Planner too drastically over the years, so um, what you need to do to get started in order to use the display planner is you need a Google AdWords account all set up. So I have mine here in Surfside PPC. This is my account I use for video tutorials specifically. So I have one campaign running, but as you can see, I haven't spent anything. I just have an active campaign. If you're not getting all of the data in the display planner, sometimes they hide data for non-advertisers. I know they do it for the keyword planner. What you can do is just set up your billing, set up a campaign. You don't have to spend much. If you want to spend $5, you can, whatever it is. But sometimes you need that just to unlock the data. And it's good to know because then you could add things into your campaign and it's just helpful. So what we're going to do here is we're in the new AdWords. Actually, before we get started, let me just say the best way to support this channel and the best way we can keep giving you free videos is if you're able to subscribe to the channel, share the videos however you want. If you have your own website, feel free to use them on your website. We always appreciate it. So the best way to support the channel, just subscribe. If you have any questions, make sure you leave a comment. We try to answer all questions. If we don't answer your question, just kind of hit us up a couple times. So without further ado, let's get started. So when you're in your AdWords account, you're going to see a page like this. We're in the overview page right here to the left. You'll see overview up top. And I haven't been able to find the display planner from the new AdWords yet. So you see under planning, they have the keyword planner and ad preview and diagnosis. So if you click on the three dots up here, you can kind of see a lot of these different things. I haven't been able to find the display planner anywhere. So what I've done is you click return to previous AdWords here. I've already opened it. So when you go to your previous AdWords, you're going to come into the campaign screen. All you have to do is just click on tools, and then down here is display planner right beneath the keyword planner, and you'll come to find this page. If you can't find the display planner, if they change it from after I make this video, you could always do a quick Google search and they'll always have some type of instruction on where to find it. So here's kind of what the display planner looks like. So you're going to see over here to the right, it's going to say how to use, find and share targeting ideas, create and save ad groups, estimate campaign performance. So you're using the display planner to find websites where you can advertise on. So that's what we're going to start with up here. This is the first tab. So they have 4 different tabs here. Up top is going to be more for finding targeting ideas, and then at the bottom is going to be insights and forecasts. So we're going to start here with search for new targeting ideas using a phrase, website, or category. So some different fields here to look at. The most important thing is right up here. So what you want to do is enter what your customers are interested, the most detailed as you can get. So for this example, I'm going to pretend like I'm selling a brand new golf club. So I have this innovative golf club that I want to promote. I have a golf company. Let's just present I'm a golf company, ABC, whatever it is. So my goal is to reach customers who are interested in golf clubs or golf equipment. So what I would do here is start by entering my keyword, and what I would do is say, okay, I'm selling golf clubs. So they don't have anything that comes up there, so I'm going to just enter that. It's going to come up as a keyword. The other thing I want to enter if I type in golf is I see golf equipment here. So now I'm reaching people who have an interest in golf equipment, and also it should find pages and things that relate to golf clubs. So the way keyword targeting works is it's contextually based. So what Google AdWords does is they try to match keywords to certain websites. So for example, golf clubs would match to, Dick's Sporting Goods on the golf club side, things like that, where you have websites that have actual golf clubs on them or golf club reviews. It should match to different online forums, online marketplaces, and really any website where golf equipment and golf clubs are talked about. It's not a perfect science. You're going to find some unrelated pages. You're going to find some things that aren't perfect. So just keep that in mind. It's not the same as search keywords. It's display keywords are contextually based, so they're really trying to pull information from websites and then match them to specific websites. So, when you think about it, it should work perfectly, but it really doesn't. It's, there's going to be a lot of unrelated things in there, but you'll also find a lot. Topics, if you have a topic, I try to use it because it tends to be a little bit more organized than keywords are. So I always enter a topic here and I'll try to enter a keyword that's related. All right, so my website doesn't, I don't have an actual golf website. I'm just using this as an example. But if you have a landing page here, you can enter it. And what AdWords will do in the display planner is they'll pull text and content from your web page, and then they'll try to return the best placements that they recommend for you. So something you can enter there as well. You could also just enter your landing page. So you can enter one or both of the following. You can just enter your landing page instead of keywords, and sometimes that works pretty well. So I'd recommend using both. It's not going to give you drastically different results many times, but sometimes you might be able to unlock some different websites that maybe the keywords and topics don't. So campaign targeting, so locations is so important for this because they're going to give you all of the inventory data, all of the amount of impressions and things like that based on the location you select. So I'm going to be selling my golf club to everybody in the United States, but let's just say, for example, you want to target some different areas. Let's just say I use Boston as my example. So let's just say you want to target Boston, Massachusetts. If you add the city, you can just add the city. If you want a larger area, so the city and some of the surrounding suburbs, and then some of the surrounding, basically anybody who's considered in the Boston, Massachusetts metropolitan area, I'd say. So they're going to be in the Nielsen DMA region. So that's probably about usually double or triple the size of the audience of this, sometimes a lot larger. So I recommend using Nielsen DMA regions if you can. There's also some different things you can target by county. You could just change it to Massachusetts, and then you could also add some of these different postal codes here. So if you have a specific postal code you're serving, a lot of different ways to target locations, just something to keep in mind. So we're going to click cancel here. We're going to target just the United States, but just so you know, you can target all sorts of things. I recommend using Nielsen DMA regions if you're targeting a metropolitan area, but it just depends on what you're promoting. So, if you have separate languages you serve, you want to add them here. I usually don't. I'm usually just use English. I haven't used a ton. I think I've used Spanish once, but it just depends on your niche. So bidding type. So I always recommend using CPC bidding. So the way this works is, let's say I bid $1 for my ad to show on different websites. I'll only be charged when someone clicks on my ad. So if my ad's shown 10,000 times with no clicks, I'm charged $0. If my ad is shown 1,000 times, 2 clicks, it costs me $2, and I have a $1 cost per click, and that's all I'm charged is $2 for each click. Or $1 for each click, $2 total. Viewable CPM bidding. So this is basically you're bidding for impressions. So you would set a viewable CPM bid. Let's say, for example, I bid $1 on that. So for every 1,000 impressions, I'm going to be charged somewhere around $1, probably slightly less. But the focus is just on impressions. You're charged for just impressions for this, so you might not get any clicks. I mean, you usually will, but the whole thing is like you might not get clicks. You're just going to get a lot of impressions. So if you're looking for something more branding, I think viewable CPM bidding is good, but I like to use CPC bidding because you can kind of focus on clicks and conversions a little better. So we're going to click save here. Okay, so next we're going to come in here to filters. We're not going to change any of this, but I just want you to keep it in mind. So this is the default ad presets. And what you're looking at is these are all the different ad formats that different websites can accept. So what you can do is say, if you're trying to just find websites that accept something like 300 by 600, you can get rid of all of these different sizes, and just do this. So then you can find placements where you can put that ad. So this is helpful if you have specific sized ads. Usually when I make ad sizes, I start with 300 by 250. You'll see it down here. I usually do a 336 by 280. I usually do a 160 by 600. So that's going to be over here. Sometimes I do a 120 by 600. I usually do 300 by 600 and 600 by 300. And then some of the larger sizes I do as well here. I usually do a mobile size of 320 by 50. So it just depends on what you're looking for. So just keep that in mind with the different sizes you have. And a best practice on the display network is usually making an ad that's every single one of these sizes, because you're going to maximize your inventory, you're going to maximize your ad impressions, and you're going to maximize the amount of people you can serve. So it ends up driving down your costs slightly. But some of these ad units tend to perform better. 300 by 250 usually perform better than some of these smaller ad units. So just keep that in mind. But good to know. If you want to look for specific sizes, you can adjust this, but we're not going to. We're going to keep it wide open. And what we're going to do now is just click Get Placement Ideas. Okay, so what we're going to see first up top here is total network inventory. So this is the total amount of cookies and ad impressions that are available within within basically everything down here. Every single individual targeting idea. This is pretty broad, so what our job is to bring this down a little bit and find the most related cookies and impressions we can find. I like to think of cookies as unique people and just impressions as ad impressions or page views. So you're going to see some different options as we come down here. There's ad group ideas and individual targeting ideas. Just to come into ad group ideas, I really never use this in the display planner, but just so you can see, what they'll do is they'll try to group certain sites and channels together. It's not perfect though. You can see there's just some things here, like there's Aussie Golfer just by itself, and you have My Golf Spy by itself, but you have some different ones up here. So you can use ad group ideas sometimes depending, but I usually don't use this tab, so we're going to stay in the individual targeting ideas. Now my best practice as far as building display campaigns is to separate out different targeting and then layer in demographic targeting. So what I'll usually do is I'll separate and create a campaign for keywords. So you'll see some of the keywords here, and again, these are contextually based. Interests. I usually don't use topics. I just use that up here for searching, but I usually don't target by topics. It tends to not be extremely related. So we come into interests and placements. So what I'll usually do is those three, and I'll create three separate campaigns and test them against each other and see what performs best. What I'm going to do for this example, so I don't, give you a 2 hour long tutorial video that ends up being quite boring. I'm going to add keywords. I'm going to separate my interests, and I'll show you why. I'm going to add keywords, interests, and placements over here as ad groups, but we're going to treat them like they're separate campaigns. So I'll show you, it'll make sense as we go throughout the process. But what I would usually do is basically add all these different ad groups here, and then when I download everything and I do everything, I upload them as separate campaigns, and I'll show you, how I do that. So we're going to start with empty ad group. So we have keywords over here. We're going to go left to right. So we're going to go keywords, save. For interests, we're going to go affinity. There's different types of interest categories in AdWords if you're not familiar, and we'll go through some of the different ones they have. So in market, and let's do placements. So think of placements as websites, videos, and apps. Interests are interest categories that AdWords has created based on the data that they have. Everyone has a Gmail or Google account nowadays, so as you start to have web history and different things like that, and as you start to visit websites, they group you into categories. So for example, I'm probably in a marketing category because I visit a lot of marketing websites. I'm probably in a football category because I visit a lot of NFL and football websites. So they just kind of put you into different categories based on what your interests are. So it's a good thing for golf and different things like that because I can reach people who I know are interested in golf, who are golfers, who like golf equipment, things like that. Keywords down here, again, these are contextually based, so they just try to pull for different websites. We're not targeting anything that anybody's typing in. It's just based on the websites they're visiting. So without further ado, let's get started. So we're going to start with keywords here. And the way you build your plan is you just want to click on your ad group over here whenever you're adding to it. So I'm just going to add 10 keywords here. What I would usually do is add almost every single one of these, as many as possible that fit. So what I'm going to do is just add 10 keywords that are the most relevant for me. So I'm not going to do golf courses. I'm going to do antique golf clubs because at least people have shown some level of interest in keywords. Again, keywords aren't exact, so don't worry about them being exactly perfect. So golf club, golf driver, golf club fitter. So that's important. So we see golf club auction here. Golf woods, so that's type of club. Let's see. Best golf club, golf wedges. So we have 9 keywords here. And let's do best golf driver. Okay. Now, some of these things here, cheap golf clubs, golf club used, just keep in mind some of those keywords might be a little less valuable than like best driver and best golf clubs because if you're looking for the best, usually it's more expensive. If you're looking for cheap or used, it's always cheaper. So just keep that in mind. So we have 10 keywords here. They're going to automatically put a forecast up here based on a max CPC bid. You can slide this, and it'll just adjust your weekly forecast. So if you want to bid a little bit lower, you can see exactly how much there is for an unlimited budget, how much inventory there is. Obviously, this is a little high, but just good to know. So let's go into interest. This is going to be a little bit easier. So it's going to automatically bring the best interests up for golf, and then it's going to start bringing up other ones that it thinks might be relevant. So people who like golf are also probably similar to avid investors, so that's why it comes up in here. But we're not going to target that because I don't want to target avid investors and say, oh, I hope this person plays golf. I want to reach the interest groups where people are actually showing that they're interested in golf. So, first we're going to start with affinity interests. So, think of affinity interests as broad interest categories that AdWords has created where they know people are interested in certain topics, certain niches, certain things on the internet. So, for example, if I'm someone who constantly follows golf, if I'm constantly following the PGA Tour, maybe I play fantasy golf online, maybe I'm looking up different golf clubs every now and then throughout the year, I'm going to be put into this affinity category of golf enthusiasts. And basically, what it means is everyone in this category has at least shown some level of interest in golf over time. So it's a lot more broad. It's just these people enjoy golf. It doesn't mean they're looking for anything. It doesn't mean they're interested in golf clubs. It just means they enjoy golf in general. So you're going to add affinity interests. These are more broad usually, and I like to think of affinity interests as a good way to reach brand new audiences. Sometimes if you have kind of a broad message that you're trying to put out there for something. So if I have this golf club and I'm trying to get the name out there, I'm trying to do that, then I would target these affinity interests. For in-market, so we're going to click our in-market interests ad group over here. Again, pretend these are campaigns. It's going to say ad groups, but we're going to treat them like separate campaigns like I would in real life or like in a real campaign when I'm building it. But what we're going to do here is in-market, we have sports and fitness, sporting goods, golf equipment. So what that means is these people that are in this in-market interest segment have shown an interest in golf equipment at least in the last 30 days that they're trying to buy something. Now, there's some people who just probably look up golf equipment all year, so there's probably like a small percentage of people that are always looking up new golf equipment because they love golf so much that they're always, buying new cleats, new balls, new clubs, whatever it is. And then what else is going to happen is let's just say, for example, I'm in the market for new clubs, and I start searching Google, best golf clubs, best golf club brands, things like that, best drivers. They're going to start putting me into this in-market segment where different golf companies can target me and try to reach me with their messaging. So basically, what in-market is it means that that person has entered the market. Think of it as a store. So affinity means, let's say you own a store, but the person's not in there, but they like your store. In a market, let's pretend the person's in your store. So that's the best way I think about it. So in market, we're going to add that to this interest. When it comes to bids, you'd usually bid higher on the in-market audience, but again, you just want to test everything and see how it performs. But I would usually start by bidding higher on in-market. So let's click on our placements ad group and come over here to placements. So placements is the one when you click, I think demographics might have it too. Oh no, they don't have it. But placements is the one where they have separate buttons down here with sites, mobile apps, and videos. So it's saying there's zero mobile apps that are relevant for this. Usually you can find a couple depending on what you're advertising, but we don't have any here, so we're not even going to worry about mobile apps, but they would work exactly the same as sites. So if I went into mobile apps and I had some, it would just look like this. Might just say, let's just say there's a golf club's mobile app, or there's definitely some mobile apps that would be related to this for sure, because I know there's a lot of golf apps. So you would just add them over here into placements, just like you would sites and videos. So we're just going to add sites. So they automatically rank everything by relevance to what you typed in. They're going to show you the website, kind of where the ad shows sometimes. So this one is anonymous in golf. This is golfwarehouse.com on the golf page, middle left. If you look at anonymous in golf, these are usually large groups of website that AdWords has grouped together, where some of these website URLs don't want to be bid on separately. So they're kind of all put into this huge thing of anonymous. And what you want to look for is make sure it's in your niche. So I'm going to see there's probably another anonymous down here, or I'll show you some in a second. You don't always want to add them. So it's going to be sorted by relevance, which is what you want to do, but I'm just going to show you some of these things over here. So it's going to show you the historical CPC on the website. Higher cost per clicks historically means that website's more valuable to advertisers. So on golfwarehouse.com, people are bidding up like crazy. It's probably because they drive sales. So I wouldn't bid 250 on something if I'm not driving sales. But LA golf clubs, people might just be bidding 50 cents here and they're not getting the greatest results. But if you get enough clicks, then you're going to drive enough optimal conversions. So just keep that in mind. You're going to see these kind of fluctuate. Usually it's $0 to $1, then sometimes you have $1 to 150. Just depends exactly on what website you're on and how valuable they've been to advertisers over the years. Now the other two things are going to be cookies per week and impressions per week. They don't always show the cookies per week, so impressions per week is what I like to use. If we click on it, we can sort by impressions per week, and we can kind of see what the most visited websites are for all these different things here. So it's good to know, so you can kind of see which ones will give you the most volume. But you're going to see some things here. For example, I don't know what this is, so what you would want to do is click on it. So right now it's showing but if we click on this right up here, we can open the page in a new tab. It's showing it's not secure. It's saying it's trying to steal my information, so kind of a weird site. Maybe they shouldn't have it on. Might have been hacked. But if you ever see that, don't go into those. Don't add them to your thing. So there's always going to be some websites here that aren't perfect, but if I go to like golfwarehouse.com, for example, and then I click to the website, you can see it's just a website that sells different types of golf things. Here's some of their Google ads. So my ads would show here. They got tons of ads on their website. So if someone comes into golf shoes and they're looking for golf shoes, my ad can show somewhere around here. I'm not sure why there's no content on this website. Kind of weird. So you kind of just want to go through these and find the best websites you can find. I always kind of just go in here and click and look at each website before I add to them. So Golf Assessor looks like a golf equipment review website, so this is perfect. I would probably try to actually get my my golf club on here if I had it. So you'll see this. Let's just pretend this is like my ad, new GX7 driver. This is like exactly great example. So it's just showing kind of how you would promote this new thing, and you're going on a perfect website, golfassessor.com. So what I want to do is take this website, make sure I'm in my placements ad group, and add it, and then we'll go back. So I'm just going to add 10 websites, and I'm going to add some videos as well. So we're going to add Golf Warehouse. It looks like a related website. We're going to add LA Golf Clubs, My Golf Spy, Anonymous. See if I give you another example of the Anonymous here. Something you wouldn't want to add. All right, so sometimes they'll have like anonymous sports. These are actually pretty related. But sometimes they'll have anonymous in sports, or anonymous in news, or anonymous in politics, whatever it is. You don't want to add those to your thing because it's not going to be relevant. You want to make sure it's in golf like that. Like that's perfect for me. So if it said anonymous in sports, I wouldn't add it. So 3 Guys Golf Blog, we're going to add that. Free online golf tips. We'll add golftips.golfweek and a couple more. So there we go. Okay, so now we have 10 here. I would probably keep going down here and adding every single one that makes sense. So I do the sand trap. I'll just add these: sand trap, public golf courses, golf link. So anything that really, a website that makes sense. So par 3 near me. So I'm not going to add that because let's just say my golf club isn't for par 3s. So Sir Shanks a lot is probably a golf website. So we'll just add some more in here. So now I have 16 websites. So it just expands my overall inventory and forecast. I would keep going down to all of these. This might be good. 18 under par. Top Dog Tennis. Who knows? I don't know if it's a dog website or a tennis website or a golf website, whatever it is. So you would just kind of, maybe swingstation.com is just for golf. You just want to go through each of them. You click in here. So My Golf Instructor is probably good. Golf Unfiltered is probably good. What you would do is just keep clicking into all these, go to them, see how relevant it is. So US Golf TV is specifically a golf blog. Here's that GX7 driver ad again. So it's all over some of these different websites. So we're going to add this one to ad group. So that's exactly what you want to do, is add some of these placements and websites that are highly relevant to what you're what you're promoting. Again, we don't have mobile apps, so we're going to go over to videos. And with videos, what you usually get is the GDN and the YouTube channel. So when you click it, it'll show some of the different things here, the accepted ad formats. So a lot of these have both YouTube channels and GDN where you can run things on. So that's what it's showing here, is all the different Google Display Network. If you come into ad formats, you can see some of the different ads that are accepted. But we're just going to add some of these top relevant ones. So we're going to do golf box reviews. So that should be good. Destiny Irons. And the way our ad is going to show is as an overlay on top of some of these different ads. So it's just going to be an ad that overlays on. If you ever gone to youtube.com and you watch a video, sometimes you see an ad shows up at the bottom of the video. So that's kind of how our ad will show on some of these videos and video channels, or it'll show right next to the video. Um, since we're not running a video ad, it's not going to show, as like a video ad. So for right now, let's just pretend I'm all done building. I've added everything that's relevant. What you would do if you're building right now is you keep going through each one of these. You want to click on them. You want to open them. So this is opening up a YouTube channel. And you're seeing, so here it is. All right, so you could just see what their channel looked like there for a second, the T Upload Golf channel. All right, let's see. So now what we want to do is we have our plan here. Let's pretend I'm building these as separate campaigns. So what I want to do is, what I can do first is just save this right to my account and create a new campaign. You do create campaign name, golf club sales. So budget, whatever your daily budget is. So let's just say mine's $20, and then default max CPC bid. They'll usually just set whatever I had over here. So let's just say I set $1. Once I click save and continue, it's going to create a brand new golf club campaign within my account. I don't want to do this right now, but it's just something good to know. If you already have an existing campaign, you're trying to expand, sometimes I'll do this. So you just add ideas to an existing campaign. I have some of my test campaigns and things over here that I've done with tutorials in the past, golf here. So let's say I'm adding to my golf campaign, I would just add right to it. So we're just going to click cancel. I don't want to do that, but if you do, just click save to account. Something that I like to look at sometimes is frequency capping. I just want to go over what this is. So when you're creating display campaigns, you can set caps on the amount of impressions per day per person. So let's say I only want to show my ad 5 times per day per campaign. So if I'm someone, I'll only see the ad a maximum of 5 times per day. It won't show a sixth time, and that's good. So ads aren't following people around the internet and kind of annoying them. So you can just do 5 impressions per day per campaign, or whatever it is. Frequency capping to find the right thing. You just want to use your data, but it's something to know. Sometimes no cap on impressions. You can kind of be serving your ads to the same person over and over. So we're just going to set it like that. And now what we want to do is we want to click here, download plan. You can save it to your Google Drive, but we're going to download the CSV file. And the CSV file is something that can be used in AdWords Editor. So you'll see here, AdWords Editor is a software where you can download your campaigns and basically work offline and then publish them online. You can make tons of changes to your campaigns and then look at everything and then publish them when you're absolutely ready. So AdWords Editor is pretty awesome. But we're going to download the CSV because I'm going to be using it for different things here to show forecasts and things like that. So let's click download CSV. What you could do is just click download and then upload it directly to your AdWords Editor account as a new campaign. Okay, so once we have that downloaded, I'm just going to open it to show it to you guys. So the number one thing is you do not want to edit this file because it's perfect as it is. You don't want to move things around. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll download 2 different files, and then I'll have one that I edit, like mess around with, and then one that I don't edit. So it doesn't look perfect right here, but the reason why it's like this is it's in the AdWords Editor CSV format. So if we upload this to AdWords Editor, it's perfect. You can see the different ad groups we have in here. Again, pretend they're campaigns. But you can see the different ad groups we have in here where we're targeting. So for placements, we have all these websites and then some of these YouTube channels. And then we also have probably some GDN placements as well for some of these. For the in-market, you can see there's interest categories and there's an ID. For the affinity, there's an interest category and an ID. You don't really need to know the IDs usually. Sometimes you can add targeting by adding the ID, but I don't really use them that often. Keywords down here again, so some of the different keywords. They're broad match type, which is the only match type on the Google Display Network. So this is what our AdWords Editor file looks like. I'm just going to minimize it for now, but just something good to know, and I like to download them and kind of mess around with them sometimes. Okay, so what we're going to do next now is a couple different things over here. If you click on demographics, you can adjust the demographics to just add them specifically to your campaign. So let's say if I'm selling golf clubs, I might just say, you know what, let me cut out 18 to 24 and just go 25 and up, or let me go 35 and up so I reach people who maybe have a higher net worth and income. So just something to keep in mind. You might just want to target females, you might just want to target males. Also, this one over here, parental status, great for toys, great for anything where you're targeting kids or where you want to reach a parent, depending on what your offer is. So just something to keep in mind there. So remarketing, I'm currently working on a different remarketing tutorial for you. I usually don't use remarketing at all in the Google Display Network. As far as in the display planner, sorry, not I do use it on the Google Display Network. But it'll if you click remarketing here, it'll just show whatever remarketing audiences you have created and how large they are. What you can do is say, I want to reach people who are in market for golf and the interests, and then make sure they're on your remarketing audience. Or you could say, I want to reach people who are 35 and up that are on my remarketing audience. So you can kind of layer some of that targeting in there with remarketing, but you really don't need this tab in the display planner, and you don't really need to use it unless you have a huge remarketing audience where you want to keep narrowing it down. Because for the most part, a lot of people's remarketing audiences aren't like millions of people. Sometimes they're just like 1,000 or 2,000. Sometimes they're even like 500. You don't really want to keep narrowing that down too much. So you only really want to narrow down your remarketing audiences when you have other things here that will make it. If I take 1 million people in my remarketing audience and add the affinity or add the in-market interest, and it cuts it down to maybe 100,000, then that's perfect. So that means that I'm just reaching people who have visited my website, who have shown interest, who are also in market for a new golf club. So just something to keep in mind. Over here to the left, you can adjust some of these things. So if you have a specific ad schedule, let's just say I only run on Monday through Friday from, whatever it is, 9 to 5, or I would do 5 p.m. So I only run Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Let's just say, for example, I have a small business or something. You can save that. It'll only show your inventory and things like that for those days of the week. Um, I don't really use an ad schedule usually, so it just depends on what your business is. If you have a small business where you're only taking calls between certain hours, you might want to use an ad schedule. So we'll just click save there. Campaign exclusions. Let's say I want to take certain placements and I don't want my ad to show on them at all. So let's just say, I don't know what's the first. Let's say I don't want my ad to show on NewYorkTimes.com. You probably would, but I'm just using this as an example because I know it's on the GDN. GDN's the Google Display Network. So let's do nytimes.com, ad placements. So once I click save down here, what it's going to show is it'll take out NY Times from the network inventory. It'll take it out from my plan. So you can use campaign exclusions, just like negative keywords. You could just take things out if you want. We're going to get rid of that because I don't want to actually exclude New York Times. Device preferences. So if you're selling specifically to Android or iOS, or your website or whatever it is, your mobile app is specifically for Android or iOS, you want to use one of these. But usually you just keep it wide open. Again, the CPC bidding you can adjust, and then the locations, things like that. So right now we have our plan. I downloaded it. If you click over here to demographics, you can see what they think people kind of within our plan look like, as far as their age and their gender and devices they use. So it looks like for the most part, people are kind of between this 35 to 64 range, probably 25 and up. But 35 to 64 seems like the most, 15, 15, 16, with 55 to 64 probably being the largest. Unknown means they're just not sure what someone's age is. They have those cookies, but they're not sure, they don't have an age matched to the cookie. So gender here, so for majority of it is male. There's still plenty of female audience there with 17%. Unknown, probably more would go into male, and then you kind of just have some female. I mean, it's probably close to a 75-25 split, I would guess, something like that, with the unknown here. So this is going to look similar for everything device. It's mostly mobile. There is some desktop and tablet, but it's just mostly mobile here. So just something to keep in mind. You can kind of look at some of the different things you need to. So I want to show you something else in Display Planner right now, so I'm going to reload it. All right, so the next thing we want to show is find top placements by location. Let's say, for example, you're targeting North Carolina with an offer, whatever it is. So let's just say maybe it's a travel offer. You want to reach people in North Carolina. What you can do is just go North Carolina, keep the same language, CPC bidding, different ad formats, keep them all open. You can adjust by topic, but we're just going to keep it wide open. Click get placement ideas. Okay, so I keep having an issue with this for some reason, but if you click get placement ideas in here, what it'll show you, and obviously we're having an error here, but what it'll show you is the top placements within North Carolina. So if you go to over to the impressions per week, you can see what the top visited websites are in the state of North Carolina by people. So it's very helpful. Let's say you have a restaurant in a city or something and you want to say, okay, I have a restaurant. Let me dismiss all these. So this clearly isn't going to work, but let's just say I have a restaurant in Asheville, North Carolina. So I just want to reach that city. You can click save, and I don't think this is going to work again. For some reason, I keep having issues with this. But what it will do is say, okay, here are the top websites that are visited by people in Asheville. All topics, keeps it wide open. So a lot of times you get the local news websites. You get some of the different websites that people enjoy within that city, local guides, things like that. So it's good. Let's say I have an Asheville restaurant. I could target the local news websites with my offer and say, maybe I have a buy one get one special. Maybe I have a buy one get one half off. I can say come to my new restaurant and in Asheville and target these top websites where there's tons of inventory and when I know people that are visiting and looking at it have a high interest in Asheville and are the most likely to visit my restaurant. So just good to know. And let's say to use the restaurant, you can also add food and drink in here. So it would keep a selected topic as food and drink, and maybe it'll pull up the websites now, but I doubt it. Maybe if I narrow it down by topic a little bit. Perfect. Okay, so I pull up food and drinking. You're going to see here, it's pulled up some different websites. It's going to show by relevance. We have our New York Times example, but it's going to show by relevance in here. But it's obviously not highly, highly relevant. Perfect. But you can click on impressions per week. And what it's going to show is the top websites in Asheville. And so I could target these different websites with my realtor. Maybe I don't want to target because it's just for home buying, but I could target eBay. So I have someone on eBay in Asheville who's bidding on something and they say, oh, there's a new restaurant in town. Maybe I should visit that. So just all these different websites you can target. So I like using that sometimes as just to find different locations where there's top keywords. I once had to run a branding campaign in Phoenix, Arizona. So I just used that tool. I went find top placements by location, went in here, remove. I think I added the Phoenix, Arizona Nielsen DMA region. So just to show you the difference in size, this is the Phoenix, Arizona Nielsen DMA region, basically the whole entire state. Whereas if you just target Phoenix, the city, there you go, just a speck in the state. Whereas the other thing was basically the whole thing. So one time I did that and then just rank the top placements, and I was able to find the top placements and put my branding campaign out there. When you just have so much more inventory there, you can bid lower and you can get more clicks within your budget. So the next part we're going to look at here is inventory details and performance forecasts. We're going to start with inventory details. Think of inventory as total amount of impressions and total amount of cookies that are available on the display network. So we're going to upload our file, and instead of giving us that huge inventory they had before, it'll just show the inventory for the targeting that we selected. So whatever targeting you select, it'll show the inventory for that. So I'm going to upload this file now. Okay, so it's uploaded now. I didn't even rename it or anything. You'll see just downloaded at this time, this date. And same thing as before. We don't really need to adjust these too much. I'm targeting the United States. So if your campaign targeting is going to be different, you want to adjust this because it'll show the accurate amount of inventory for that area with your display plan targeting. So it's going to say over here your plan is empty, but what it actually has is it has all of our different things up here. So this is our inventory. So our total network inventory is 100 million to 500 million cookies and 5 billion to 10 billion impressions. So before, remember, it said 10 billion plus impressions. It said, I think it said over a billion cookies. So it's narrowed it down a little bit. You're going to show some of the demographics. Looks like they changed from when we looked at them before a little bit. You're going to see it's more in the 25-34 range, but it's pretty even almost throughout. So it'll only show our keywords here that we're targeting. It'll only show the two interests we're targeting. We have no topics, and then we have our placements that we're targeting, and then demographics is wide open. So just something to look at. With inventory, you could look at weekly and monthly. So if you need a lot of inventory for whatever it is that you're trying to promote, this is definitely helpful. And what we can do is we have our different ad groups here. So ad group placements, you can see our cookies per month with placements and our impressions per month with placements is probably a smaller fraction of this than some of the other things. So if we look at keywords, it's definitely more. So impressions per month, looks like keywords would generate about half of all of our impressions per month, maybe a little bit less. And then here's another example of in-market. So it's showing 1 billion to 5 billion impressions per month for people who are in-market golf equipment. Affinity, it's showing 10 billion plus. So affinity is always going to be a huge audience. It might be unrelated sometimes. Just keep that in mind. I like to use in-market a lot better, but affinity can work if you need to keep expanding your reach. So if we treated these as separate campaigns, I would say the affinity would get the most volume, and then you would have a good amount from probably keywords would be second, in market would be third, and placements would be last. So what we'd want to do is probably expand our placements a little bit. I usually have huge placement ad groups with hundreds of sites and videos and all that. So usually you want to expand this a lot because interests, keywords, and all that are huge and broad. So that's basically network inventory. You can kind of see for different ones of your campaigns, aka ad groups here. You can kind of see how much inventory you have. So let's go back again. And now we want to do get performance forecast. So this will be a little bit better. We can adjust bids and budgets and kind of see how much we can get for our money in our budget. So I'm going to upload my file again. Okay, now that we're uploaded, we're just going to click get performance forecast. You can update these if you need. Okay, so what it's going to do is pull in our max CPC bid from before, and we can enter a daily budget. So let's say I know my daily budget's going to be 25 bucks to advertise this new golf club that I have, and I'm willing to bid $1. So once you do that, it's going to load up here and it'll give you a performance forecast. So my performance forecast is going to be over here up top, and it's going to show how many clicks, the cost I would expect, the average CPC for this up here. And you can adjust this as you go. And if you look, so each time I go over, it's adding a cent to my cost per click bid, and it'll adjust the amount of clicks, impressions, cookies, and cost it'll show. So basically what they're recommending is to bid somewhere around 10 cents. That's kind of what they're showing. I wouldn't bid somewhere around 10 cents, but you can see that there. It'll separate it out by different ad groups that we have in our plan. So if you think of these as campaigns, you can kind of see, we're going to get the most from affinity and keywords, and then in-market and placements will kind of trail behind a little bit. It looks like in-market's a little bit lower than it showed before, so we'd probably have to adjust, and you see the bid's a little bit higher here. Keywords, I'm surprised the bid is so high. What you can do is click on these and see what individual things sometimes, or you can remove them. You can see where the videos, so you can see we're targeting some of the different things here. So it's just kind of good to know some of these things. You can see your performance forecast, how much you have monthly here. If you go through demographics and devices, they have some more information. So this is going to adjust the demographics and devices, just kind of weird. Over to the left, it's going to show that we're showing all ad formats here. Again, you can add campaign exclusions, you can add device preferences and ad scheduling if you want to, but we're not going to do that here. But if I just said, hey, let me see what I can get for a 71-cent max CPC bid at my $25 daily budget. So I just clicked over here. They say I would get about 2,000 clicks, 500 to a million impressions, 100K to 500K cookies, 750 costs. My average cost per click would be 36 cents. It would be majority from affinity and keywords, and then in-market and placements be a little bit lower. And what I would do is, if I'm doing this, is you would run 4 different campaigns together. I would take my daily budget, I would probably split it between all 4, and then you just adjust your cost per click bid to make sure that you're spending your budget every day for each of them. Again, if I click save to account here, I can create a new campaign just like before. So if you just want to keep looking at some of these forecasts and stuff and keep building your campaign, you could always just save it at the end. Once you save it to your account, all you have to do is create your ads within AdWords and everything, and you'll have your display network campaign running in no time. So that's pretty much the Google AdWords display planner. You use it to find websites, apps, videos, keywords, interests, demographics, locations, all these different things you can target on the Google Display Network. One of the things the Google Display Network always kind of touts is I think they reach over 90% of the internet. So it's just a huge, massive area for ad inventory. Google's been building their display network over the years. They were one of the first to have like a real display network that works. And the main thing you want to do when you're setting up your campaign, you have all your everything ready is make sure you're tracking everything. Make sure you have conversion tracking set up because ultimately you want to get to a point where you're using the conversion optimizer for your display campaign. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We kind of went over today how to find new targeting ideas. You can enter your landing page here and find some other things. See what Google thinks are the best for your landing page. At the end of the day, Google wants to give you the best places to advertise because if they can drive you results, then you're going to keep spending money with them. It's pretty simple. So thanks for joining me today. This is our Google AdWords Display Planner tutorial. I hope you learned something and I hope you know how to build a Google AdWords display campaign now. Thanks again. Please subscribe to our channel and feel free to share this video or any other video.